There's no better way to program your subconscious mind than listening to positive statements over and over. And there's no better way to do that than in a semi-meditative alpha brainwave state. I've created 3 prosperity meditations on hightimelinebooks.com to help you do just that. And for a limited time, you can get all 3 for the price of 2. So take your life to a higher vibe. Check them all out at hightimelinebooks.com.
Hello, hello, and happy Friday to my fun astrology friends. And happy Valentine's Day to those who are celebrating. Today's big news in the sky is that Mercury has officially left Aquarius and entered Pisces, where he'll be for about 2.5 weeks. That's right, when Mercury isn't retrograde, he moves quickly through the signs. And honestly, by the time Mercury makes its way through all of Pisces, you might be relieved it's over. This is because, on the surface, Mercury does not perform well in Pisces. Mercury is the planet of thinking, logic, communication, and how we process information. There are a few signs where Mercury is really strong. In Gemini, for example, Mercury is sharp, curious, and thrives on gathering as much information as possible. In Virgo, Mercury is methodical, precise, and organized, analyzing information with clarity and precision. In Aquarius, Mercury is intelligent, innovative, and naturally thinks outside the box. But Mercury in Pisces, that's a whole different story. Instead of being logical and structured, Mercury in Pisces operates on intuition, imagination, and feeling. And you may find yourself picking up on nonverbal body language or sensing emotions in those around you. As someone with my natal Mercury in Pisces, I know this energy well. It's funny, people often speak their sign, and I truly do feel my thoughts and communicate them that way. For example, instead of saying, I think this decision makes sense, I'll say, I feel good about this decision. These word choices are subtle, but they reveal how Mercury in Pisces processes thoughts as feelings first. And I don't speak like this on purpose. It's just the way my communication energy shows up. So here's a funny story that perfectly highlights the different ways that Mercury energy can show up in different people day to day. Last week, my friend Stephanie and I attended a parent meeting for our kids who are moving from elementary to middle school next year. At the door, they handed us a thick brochure packed with details on academics, electives, and a step-by-step guide on how to register online for their electives. Now, here's where our Mercury placements really showed up. Stephanie, with her Mercury in Gemini, immediately opened the booklet, went page by page, reading and comprehending every detail. She absorbed it like a pro, and she went home and got the registration done that night. Me, on the other hand, with my Mercury in Pisces, I opened the booklet and immediately closed it. Too much information condensed into too many words. A few minutes later, I picked it up again, and after a few seconds, I put it back down again. A few minutes later, I glanced over at Stephanie, still reading, and decided to open it one more time. Nope, still overwhelming. Finally, I put it down for good, and instead I decided to get a feel for this new school. I scanned the gym where we were sitting, and I got a sense for how I felt about the principal and the other speakers. What were my gut feelings about them and the experience of the evening overall? How did I feel about this school and the other parents sitting there with me? How did I imagine my son would experience this place next year? That, my friends, is Mercury in Pisces in action. Instead of processing information in a structured way, I tend to take things in energetically, intuitively, and through feelings, not by reading a brochure cover to cover like my amazing friend did. And don't worry, eventually my son did get registered for his electives, but not thanks to me. I left that piece to my husband, whose Mercury in Capricorn got the job done in a much more practical and efficient way. So, what does this mean for all of us over the next 2.5 weeks while Mercury is in Pisces? You may find that logic and details are harder to grasp, which could lead to frustration. Communication might feel more abstract rather than direct, which could cause misunderstandings. Now, on a positive note, creative expression flows more naturally, so it's a great time for writing or music or art. If your mind feels foggy, take breaks. And most of all, be patient with yourself and others. Sometimes feelings say more than words. So if you know where your natal Mercury is and how it shows up in your day-to-day life, please drop it in the comments on this episode of the Fun Astrology Podcast YouTube channel. Thomas will be here tomorrow with Merriman, and I feel like we are going to have a great weekend. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you all again next Friday. Take care, everyone.